Tonight we are sounding the alarm on one of the Philippines' most unpredictable volcanoes, Taal Volcano, in Batangas province. For decades, this island volcano sitting inside a lake has terrorized communities with sudden, deadly eruptions that can kill thousands in minutes. But what happened on October 26, 2025, defied everything scientists thought they knew about volcanic warning systems. 4 massive explosions ripped through the air without warning, while Taal was still on alert level 1, the lowest possible threat level. No seismic activity, no gas emissions, no ground deformation, nothing that volcanologists use to predict eruptions. Just a peaceful Sunday morning that turned into chaos in seconds. Fishermen casting their lines on Taal Lake suddenly found themselves racing for their lives as boiling water and volcanic debris rained down around their boats. Families preparing for church watched the sky turn black as ash plumes shot over 2,000 meters into the air. And then something impossible appeared in the ash cloud, something so unexpected that even people fleeing for their lives stopped to stare in amazement. A perfect rainbow arcing through the volcanic plume, a symbol of hope piercing through destruction, reminding us that even in our darkest moments, beauty can emerge from chaos. October 26, 2025, 9:30 a.m. It's a typical Sunday morning in Batangas province. Fishermen in their small bancas drift peacefully on Taal Lake, casting nets in the morning calm. In nearby communities like Laurel and Agoncillo, families prepare for church while children play in the streets, and vendors set up Sunday market stalls. Taal Volcano sits quietly on its island, listed at Alert Level 1 by PHIVOLCS. Normal, non-eruptive conditions. The monitoring equipment shows normal readings. Everything appears calm, but Taal doesn't play by the rules. At 9:30 a.m., without any warning signs that scientists depend on, Taal exploded. The first blast was a phreatomagmatic eruption, superheated magma hitting lake water, creating a massive steam explosion. The sound was deafening, carrying for miles. Fishermen later described it as like thunder that wouldn't stop. 3 more explosions followed, sending ash plumes 2,100 meters into the sky, turning morning into apocalyptic twilight. On the lake, fishermen suddenly found themselves in a nightmare. The water began to bubble and churn as volcanic debris rained down. Pyroclastic surges, fast-moving currents of hot gas and volcanic matter, raced across the lake at 100 kilometers per hour. These deadly flows of superheated gas and rock can reach over 1,000 degrees Celsius. Videos show the panic of those first moments. Voices shout, "Sumabog na! It exploded!" and "Takbo na! Run now!" Boats that had been peacefully drifting, they suddenly gunned their engines, racing toward shore as ash fell like gray snow. In nearby communities, windows rattled with each explosion. Car alarms went off. Dogs barked frantically. Then came the ashfall, fine gray dust settling on rooftops and streets. The air became thick with sulfur dioxide gas that burned throats and lungs. People rushed to cover their faces, remembering lessons from the devastating 2020 eruption. This is the real terror of Taal. It's surrounded by communities. An estimated 459,000 people live within 14 kilometers of this volcano. And this eruption had no warning signs. Taal went from completely calm to violently erupting in minutes, catching everyone, scientists, officials, and communities completely off guard. As dark volcanic ash billowed thousands of feet into the air, creating an apocalyptic scene, something extraordinary happened. A perfect rainbow appeared, cutting directly through the volcanic plume. The phreatomagmatic explosions created massive amounts of water vapor mixed with ash. When morning sunlight hit these water droplets at just the right angle, it refracted into a brilliant arc of color: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, painted across the dark ash cloud like a divine message written in light. The timing couldn't have been more dramatic. Here were communities facing their worst nightmare, and nature painted a rainbow in the sky above them. Social media posts tell an incredible story. At Monix2121 posted a video showing the rainbow clearly visible through the ash plume, captioning it, "Even in the midst of Taal's eruption, there's beauty." The video went viral, becoming a symbol of hope in disaster. But the most remarkable thing was how people reacted. In one video, a fisherman on his ash-covered boat points up and says, "Tingnan mo yan! Look at that!" His voice filled with wonder, not fear. Another shows a family that just evacuated, standing in their ash-covered yard, pointing at the rainbow. The mother says, "Ang ganda naman! How beautiful!" as ash continues to fall. This reaction reveals something profound about communities that have learned to live with natural disasters. These aren't tourists witnessing a spectacle. These are people whose lives have been repeatedly disrupted by this volcano, who lost everything in 2020 when 376,000 people were displaced. Yet they still found wonder in that rainbow. It became a symbol of why these communities choose to stay near Taal despite constant threat. Beauty and danger coexist here. The fertile soil that makes their farms productive comes from volcanic ash. Life near a volcano isn't just about surviving threats. It's about witnessing nature's most incredible displays. Despite the sudden violent eruptions and lack of warning, not a single person died. Not one serious injury was reported. This wasn't luck. This was the result of hard-won lessons from the catastrophic 2020 eruption. After 2020, these communities transformed their approach to volcanic threats. Local governments developed comprehensive evacuation plans, identified safe zones, distributed emergency kits, and conducted regular drills. Most importantly, they created a culture of mutual aid where neighbors help neighbors. When Taal exploded on October 26th, this preparation activated automatically. Fishermen on the lake didn't just save themselves. Experienced boat operators guided others to safety, shouting directions over the eruption's roar, "Tito, sundin moako! This way, follow me!" On shore, community leaders activated emergency protocols within minutes, spreading the word, "Evacuate immediately, help your neighbors." Families didn't just flee, they checked on elderly neighbors and helped families with children. Mrs. Elena Santos, 67, from Barangay Buso Buso, described how her neighbor's son came with his motorcycle. He said, "Tito, we're not leaving anyone behind." That's the spirit of our community. Nobody waited for official orders. These communities learned that when Taal erupts, you move first and ask questions later. The formal evacuation order came hours after people had already begun leaving on their own initiative. This self-directed response probably saved lives. In many volcanic disasters worldwide, people die because they wait too long to evacuate. The communities around Taal learned that survival depends on immediate action, not waiting for permission. By evening, approximately 2,500 people had voluntarily evacuated to 23 evacuation centers. The coordination was remarkable. Local transport cooperatives mobilized vehicles, radio stations broadcast updates, and social media groups created after 2020 shared real-time information. This successful evacuation proved that these communities have transformed tragedy into strength, turning vulnerability into resilience. Here's what's troubling scientists. Despite 4 explosive eruptions in one day, PHIVOLCS is keeping Taal at alert level 1. The eruptions were short-lived, but they revealed something that challenges everything volcanologists thought they knew. For decades, scientists have relied on seismic monitoring, gas analysis, and ground deformation to forecast eruptions. These tools usually provide weeks or months of warning, but Taal just proved it doesn't always follow the rules. Dr. Teresita Bakal-Cole from PHIVOLCS admitted the lack of warning signs was unusual. This unpredictability isn't just scientific curiosity. It's life and death for nearly 500,000 people in the danger zone. Taal's history confirms this pattern. The deadliest eruption in 1911 killed 1,335 people in minutes with no warning. The 1965 eruption killed over 200 when pyroclastic flows swept across the lake faster than boats could escape. Current monitoring around Taal is more sophisticated than ever. Networks of seismometers, GPS stations, gas sensors, thermal cameras. But all this technology is only as good as the warning signs it can detect. When Taal erupts without providing those signs, even the best monitoring becomes irrelevant. The successful evacuation on October 26th proved these communities are better prepared than ever, but they've also learned that preparation has limits. When pyroclastic flows move at 100 kilometers per hour across a lake, survival depends on being in the right place at the right time. The rainbow in the ash cloud became a symbol of the delicate balance these communities live with. Beauty and danger coexist around Taal. They've learned to thrive in this environment, but survival sometimes depends on factors beyond their control. For the communities around Taal Lake, this means living with uncertainty as a permanent companion. It means staying prepared, maintaining emergency supplies, and being ready to help each other when disaster strikes. Most of all, it means continuing to find reasons to hope, like rainbows in ash clouds, even when living with one of the most dangerous volcanoes on Earth.